the hospital that's believed to have had the first presumptive case of COVID-19 in all of Canada, first reported on January 25th, 2020.
On January 25th of 2020, the first Canadian COVID-19 case was reported in Toronto, Canada. The virus quickly spread throughout Canada, eventually spreading to British Columbia.
Canada had no choice but to initiate lockdown protocols. With no one driving in Vancouver, the empty streets led to gas prices reaching an all-time low due to the diminishing oil demand.
Gas prices plummeted. The price dropped from an average of $1.13 per liter to a staggering 85 cents per liter. However, the gas price fluctuated from 85.3 cents to 105.8 cents from March 2020 to February 2022.
However,
it started early this morning. The Russian assault on Ukraine began with missile attacks on key targets. This was an airport. But across the country, Ukrainians woke to explosions.
On February 24th, 2022, Russia declared war on Ukraine.
The latest now from Russia's war on Ukraine. Canada is joining key Ukrainian allies in a new effort to punish Moscow. The new measures target Russian oil exports.
That it is banning all Russian oil and other energy imports.
In an effort to drain Russia's resources along with restricting its economy, the United Nations sanctioned Russia along with creating fuel trade bans.
However, this came with dire consequences. Like many countries, Canada's fuel prices spiraled.
It was Vancouver which suffered the most. Vancouver's fuel prices skyrocketed to an unprecedented $2.59 per liter.
Throughout these past weeks, we interviewed strangers who shared their thoughts on the recent gas price inflation.
Coincidentally, a few were past J and Burnett students.
I spend more on gas and I drive less now. So then I'm more inclined to take the transit. Like if I want to go downtown, instead of driving to downtown, I'll just take the train or drive over to River Rock, park there and take the train, save gas, parking, savings like there.
For question 3, around how much money do you spend on fuel around the month?
About $3.50. Quite a bit for this small car, but I normally I should be filling premium, but I'm feeling regular because I'm not paying whatever $2.10 for gas. That's probably ruining my car, but I'm trying to
More, drive less, walk more.
So my job involves me driving a lot. A lot of my gas is covered by my company. Okay. So overall, because my gas is covered, it hasn't been too bad. But it's just a minor hindrance for me more than anything.
Oh, okay. Third question, around how much do you spend on gas a month?
Each month, I'd say somewhere between $200 and $250.
probably about $400 to $500.
There were a few people who were not comfortable with sharing their faces. Nevertheless, we have recorded their thoughts.
Many said that they thought the gas prices were too high and said that they had to save more money to use on gas.
Moreover, many said that they adapted to this change by carpooling more, biking, walking, and taking public transit to save money and fuel.
After interviewing a multitude of people, the average spent on fuel a month was around $300 to $350 per month.
Before the spike in fuel prices, the average money spent on fuel a month was around $170 to $250 per month.
So why is the price of fuel spiking so high, especially in Vancouver and the Lower Mainland? While other parts of Canada had a pronounced increase in price, but only reached a high of $1.93 per liter before dropping down to $1.55 per liter.
There is a multitude of reasons. The most drastic problem was the fuel bans and sanctions on Russia. British Columbia heavily relies on imported fuel, so these fuel trade bans and sanctions cause British Columbia to be supplied with much less fuel than before. With restrictions lifting and more people driving, this lack of supply could not keep up with the increasing demand.
Another reason why gas prices are so high is because of pipelines. Alberta, which is a province located east of British Columbia, is a mass producer of fossil fuels. So many people ask, why can't Alberta just sell fossil fuel to British Columbia? Alberta has plenty of fuel that can be sold, but the problem is that they do not have a way to transport it to British Columbia cheaply. Unlike the other provinces and territories, which have hundreds of pipelines connecting Alberta, British Columbia only has one pipeline, which is the Trans Mountain Pipeline.
The government has issued to build more pipelines to relieve the high fossil fuel prices in British Columbia. However, in order to manufacture these pipelines, engineers must cross Indigenous First Nations land.
Unfortunately, building pipelines heavily damage the ecosystem. To clear space for the pipeline, many trees are cut down. The wildlife is affected by a never-ending metal pipe that splits the forest and frequently has oil spills that devastate the environment by contaminating the water.
Despite recognizing the possible damages to British Columbia's wildlife, the government still pushes to build more pipelines. However, attempts to build more were fruitless.
Many First Nations elders bring these problems to court, and thousands of protesters delay the pipeline completion.
Because of these practically unsolvable issues, people advocated for different solutions.
The solution was to purchase electric vehicles so you would not need to fill up on gas. Hybrid cars were a viable solution, but not as effective. Hybrid vehicles would eventually require you to fill up with gas.
At the beginning of September 2022, sales for electric vehicles spiked.
In 2022, 56,000 EVs were sold in Canada, making a 35% increase in 2021 sales.
We interviewed a stranger with an electric car under purchase choice.
Gas prices are too expensive, so I invested in a Tesla.
We also interviewed a car enthusiast who provided a side-by-side comparison of electric vehicles and gasoline vehicles.
So what are your thoughts on electric vehicles?
I think they're pretty good because they're sustainable for the future. They're low for maintenance costs. You only need to spend on tires and wiper fluid. And you don't spend that much on gas. Me personally, I spend like 20 to 30K on gas a year. And I'd rather invest that into a electric vehicle or save that. I personally have a Tesla and I really like it, but the only downside to it is the charging takes a while, but per charge, I only spend about $12, so I save a lot.
So we all know that electric vehicles are the future, but why do people still purchase or keep their gasoline vehicles?
Because I feel like maybe they get range anxiety from not having enough chargers in the area, and also the fear of if your battery dies fully, the replacement is going to cost you like $30,000 to $40,000. But for people keeping or buying new gas cars, I personally think, because I like gas cars, that it's for the enjoyment and engagement. There's not really engagement in electric vehicles, and there's a totally different experience with gas compared to electric.
Fossil fuels play a pivotal role in society.
From cars to planes to boats, even a lawnmower, gas is an instrumental element in society.
Nonetheless, the increase in gas prices have caused a multitude of problems in Vancouver and the Lower Mainland.
We hope the gas price issue will be swiftly resolved.
See you guys next time.
Ciao.
I haven't done one in so long. We're playing hide and seek. Oh my god.